Ladies and gentlemen, what's up? This is BC. Welcome back to another episode of Supreme Being. Hey, appreciate the support. I wanted to jump right in today. I'm excited about the event that we're doing this weekend in Columbia, South Carolina, the Distinguished Agent Summit. I'm excited about everything else that we're doing. You have all the links to check out below. If you guys are looking to check out my coaching, all the other stuff, you can find there in the description here on YouTube, Instagram, the audio platform, wherever you're listening. I want to discuss with you today, and this is something I teach. It's one of the models that I teach, and I think walking you through it will help you assess where you're at, but also where you can take it. It's the pyramid, the 5 levels of skill, right? Now we can use this for anything, right? And I'm going to use it in the context of like business, sales skills, communication skills, but really, I mean, it could be also connected to your proficiency in virtually anything. You may change some of the verbiage in there in regards to the criteria, but the actual structure and names pretty much stay the same, right? Because as you ascend, a lot of the stuff is paralleled in whatever that whatever you're doing. So let's give the 5 and let's discuss them because I think they're extremely important. The way I name the pyramid from bottom to top, bottom being where you begin, top being obviously what you want to aspire for. The very bottom, we have the rookie level. Then next, we have the prospect level, then initiate, then captain, and then master. Okay, let's break this down. The rookie's brand new, doesn't know anything. They're unconsciously incompetent, meaning they're doing things, practically everything wrong. However, they're not aware of it, right? Let's say you're talking sales, right? You have no idea that, communication is this intricate art, right? The science where you can literally attract people or repel people with how you look, how you dress, all the nuances and technique, right? Like you have no idea. You may have some vague representation in your mind of what it is, but you were taught it was BS, or you think people are just born with sales skills and you can't really acquire it. And it's like this foreign thing to you where you don't really know what it is, right? And a lot of people like myself started there. I didn't know anything about sales. I didn't even know sales was a thing where you would like learn and read books about it and improve your communication. I had no idea. I just didn't know it was at that level, right? So that's kind of that rookie level. And I think it's not really taught too much, this particular skill. We can say sales communication. People look at it, they kind of have an idea of it, but they don't look at it. We could say this angle from like a strict academic angle. I don't think they really view it this way. And I think that you have to, right? Because, as I'm giving you the structure, I kind of want to walk you through the ascension if you were to choose something like sales or communication and what it would look like. So the first one is that rookie, brand new. You don't really know anything. Again, in parentheses, I put unconsciously incompetent, meaning you're incompetent. You don't know what you're doing, and you're unconsciously incompetent, meaning you're not aware. Okay. Here's the next one. The next one is called the prospect level. So you're beginning to learn and get some of the basics down. Now you're in that phase now of consciously incompetent, where now, again, you're still not super proficient at what you're doing. You're learning, but now at least you're aware that you're making mistakes. This is the person who now is making calls, engaging with strangers, trying to grow their business, getting out there and hustling. And they're aware, right? Like they'll go through a conversation and try to set up an appointment with somebody or get them as a genuine lead. And then it doesn't go through, but they're at least aware now, maybe not specifically what they did wrong, but they're aware that something in their process is off and it's causing people to run away from them or say no, right? It's causing them to have issues in the sales process, right? So as you're going through this prospect phase, it's important that you build with the proper foundation. So many people want to jump from, brand new to master. It's not going to happen. The brand new and prospect phase, these first 2 phases, take some time. Now, can you get through them quicker? Of course. That's what coaching is for. That's what help and mentorship and all that. That can accelerate it a bit. However, you still have to pay your dues and go through the process. This is the part where people, like my team members that I bring on or my students, I say, look, you got to get out there and you got to knock on doors. You got to make calls. You have to earn it. You have to get beat up a little bit, right? You have to hear no. You have to get used to rejection. You have to really get out there and prime yourself to the real life activity of doing this. We can't just do the reps and practice and role play. All that stuff is great, but you got to get out there and get real life experience, right? And this is how you start going and graduating from these phases is your awareness starts to go up. That's one of the first things that starts to change. as you're climbing up this pyramid is you begin to become very aware. As you start making mistakes in this prospect phase, you now will become more aware. Or the moment you say something, you'll realize, oh man, that was wrong. I shouldn't have said it. And now your awareness is starting to heighten a little bit, right? You're beginning to get a better feel for the sales process. You're getting an idea of what works and what doesn't. So the puzzle is starting to slowly form, and now you're getting an idea of it. However, you're still consciously incompetent, meaning you're doing things wrong. However, at least you're aware of it now. All right. Moving on. Third level, right? As we're scaling the pyramid. The next one is the initiate level. Initiate level. Intermediate level, you're gaining momentum. You're starting to learn, right? Maybe you're having some success now. You're now consciously competent, meaning you're doing things right and you know now, but it requires a lot of focus and attention. You're not smooth yet, right? Like it's the person who knows the script, but you can still kind of tell they're scripted, but they're getting some results, right? They know how to carry the conversation. They seem a little bit more confident, right? That they don't come off as a complete stone cold rookie, but you can still tell like, okay, this guy's pretty good. It still kind of feels like he's using the script. He hasn't gotten to that level yet where it's conversational and it's, silky smooth. So this is a level, I believe, a good chunk of people never make it to, right? Two things I want to say here. Number one, a lot of people never make it to this level. A lot of people are still in the first two levels, but they have, this illusion that they're really good when they're not, right? Because I don't know, maybe they don't have the right people around them. Maybe they're not learning from the proper instructor, but almost delusional in their ability, right? Because I know a lot of people who think they're good at sales, but they're not. We have one side of the fence that's there. The other side gets to this level and they have this false impression now that they're really good, right? Maybe they started with the group and they accelerated a little bit quicker than everybody else. And they're at the top of the food chain now in that group being intermediate. And now it goes to their head and they think, oh, I figured it out, right? This is the first level where fatal mistakes begin to happen. Let me describe this to you. This is the first level where people start saying, oh, I have it figured out. And they have the propensity now and the potential, and you see this sometimes, you may have done it yourself to a small or a big degree, right? To now get away from the basics and fundamentals that got you there. Maybe to get there, this person was having live conversations 3-4 hours a day. Maybe they were spending an hour practicing and role-playing scenarios with people, their communication and their sales skills. Maybe they were reading an hour or two every morning and every evening total to brush up on their skills. And now that they reach the intermediate level, suddenly they read less or they stop reading. They scale back their role play a little bit. Maybe now they're only doing 30 minutes and they already start to take their foot off the gas a little bit because they're getting a little bit of results. They're feeling a little bit better. And now they think, oh, okay, now I've already put in the hard work. Now I can coast. Huge mistake. Why? You will be stuck in the intermediate level and you will actually go back down. You can actually go back down in this pyramid, just so you know. Because one thing that has to rise as you go up the ranks in this pyramid, this 5 levels of, skill mastery, is your results. If you think you're getting better because you feel a certain way, but your results aren't going up yet, you're still a notch below where you think you are. I mean, how many of you know people who, like, even, let's say, even in this category, sales, like if you guys practice, man, they sound like sharp. Like, wow, this person's really fucking good. But then you get them on a live call and they can't seem to close people. They can't seem to get the results. There seems to be a disconnect there. Well, that's the result of this probably. Somebody who needs to fine tune, needs to keep working on their game, but they're not putting in the necessary effort to grow. So one thing I want to share with you guys, and this is something I shared with my students a long time ago, is think of this on a scale from 1 to 10. 1 being, hey, I'm brand new at this activity, whatever it is. And 10 being, you're a bona fide master, top 1%, like you're the shiznit, right? 1 to 7, 1 to 6 or 7 is relatively speaking in the grand scheme of things, we can say is kind of fast. Meaning you can get from level 1 to 6 or 7, relatively speaking. Let's say that takes you a year or two, right? So in the grand scheme of this total graph, 1 to 10, not bad. So intermediate level, you're probably at a 7. Okay. Let's say it takes that individual a year. Now, to go from 7 to 8 or 7 to 7.5 will likely take that much time, if not more. And then every bump incrementally takes time. So 7 to 10 could take them 5, 6, 7 years, but 1 to 7 maybe took them 1 to 2. In total, 7, 8, 9 years to reach the top of that thing. Now think, right? I recently, about a year ago, got into calisthenics. A lot of top guys will say, hey, dude, for me to get 5 more seconds on this hold, it took me another year or 2 of training. But to first get that initial hold, maybe it took them just a year of training, right? So it's the same thing applied to whatever it is. But I want to give this to you so you have an understanding. Hey, when you hit intermediate, dude, the game has just begun. You've barely got a little bit of wind in your sails, and now you're starting to, have like a baseline foundation for more proficiency in this activity that you're gauging right here, right, with this pyramid. So again, the intermediate level can cause a lot of people to go backwards. Not always, but you're gaining momentum. You're getting pretty good. And again, you're consciously competent, meaning you're decent now, but it requires a lot of brain power. All right. Now, the next level is the captain. The captain now is what we consider a skilled practitioner in this art, in this thing. So in this case, communication and sales. And they're now unconsciously competent, meaning they're good now, but it's unconscious. It's just natural for them and it's smooth. They don't have to think about it anymore. Okay. This is where people start breaking through. When you start getting to the captain level, like in my industry in real estate, you start breaking $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 and going higher, because now your just straight up ability to deal with customers and close deals just goes up because you're good at what you do, right? And now you're probably going to get to the point where you're going to start hiring people and scaling your operation, right? But you first have to reach this captain level. But that takes time. That takes years. I would say I personally, and remember, when I say I was working back in the day, like when I was brand new solo entrepreneur, real estate agent, building my business, I worked like 6, 7 days a week, like 12, 14-hour days. In case you haven't been around since I've been making content, for 10 years. For me to get to captain level in skills like sales and communication, I would say it was at least 3 or 4 years, at least, maybe even 5, to really say, okay, like I'm very good at this thing, right? Because that's around the time that I really started growing my team a lot more. I started my team at about the 3rd year mark, right? But really growing it and scaling it more, and then really now starting to transition more into more teaching, right? Because it's been about 3 or 4 years now that I've been doing coaching. So, 5 or 6 year mark is where I would say I got to that, right? Maybe, at least 3 or 4, we'll say. Probably closer to 4 or 5. So this takes time, man, to say, okay, I can do this and I'm smooth at it now, right? It comes easy for you to jump in. Like I'm talking, you're a captain when you can pull the phone out of somebody's hand and you can close a deal for them. Right? For the people in my industry in real estate, you can call somebody without having any information on them and you can close the deal, set up a meeting, right? Whereas most rookies like, oh, I need all the information. I need to know a lot about them before I make the call. The captain can make the call without knowing anything and get the appointment, right? That's when you know you're a captain, right? Other people admire you now, right? And not just that, you're getting the results, right? If you're a captain in real estate, you're closing at least 4 or 5 transactions a month, right? So if you think you're a captain with skills, but you're not closing at least 4 transactions a month, meaning 48, 52 a year, you're not there yet, dude, because you're not getting the results. And if, again, you don't have the results to match your perceived skill level, well, you're not there. Because if you really were at that level, you would be getting the results straight up. Now, a lot of people want to argue that last point, but it is what it is. That's the reality. Again, you may in practice be good, but are you in application, win the game, right? How many of us had friends that were practice players when it came to sports, but when the bright lights were on and it was game time, they would choke or they just wouldn't live up to the hype? Well, you can't say that person was that good then, because when it was time to show up, when it mattered, they wouldn't. Okay, so that's the captain, right? I don't want to go too much into detail on all these because I want to keep it short and sweet. Now, the last one is the master. You're very skilled. And now you're able to experiment and break the rules. This is where you start creating your own stuff. Like recently, me taking everything from the lectures I've been doing over the years and condensing it into one script book, where I know the elements of the script book, the vast majority of it is stuff that people will have never heard before in regards to responses to objections and scripting. Some of it, will be the baseline scripts that everybody uses, of course. But all the additions I've done, all the objection handlers, the 3 or 4 new ones that I added for this and that you've never heard it before, for sure. For sure. I know, because I've studied other, like I've taken it to the level where I can experiment and break the rules now, but I know it works because it's tested in the field with me and my agents and my students, because they've been using this stuff for years now. But see, I had to be a captain first before I got to this level in order to just break free and start kind of, I can be married to the technique and the style. But when you really want to take it to another level after that, meaning it's for certain you're a captain and you're getting the results and you want to now bump to the top of the pyramid, at that point, we can make the argument. I remember hearing this from Bruce Lee. He said, technique is a trap and style is a prison when you get to that level of mastery. And he was saying that in reference to like him wanting to be able to defeat anybody in a fight and saying, well, if I only do Kung Fu, this other style can destroy it, right? It was almost like every style to him had a counter style that could destroy it. He said, I want to have all the best elements of all of them and have my own that is just unbeatable. So that's what he was referring to. And this can be referenced to communication and sales or anything else as well. Because then if I go up against another captain, if I'm at a master level and I can do things differently and I can bring my own unique flavor, I have the potential to have a new evolved technique that's even better than what was traditionally taught. But you won't know until you get there and you experiment, right? But you have to be a master at all the basics before you can get to this. So this level, I would say, is more in line with that like 10,000 hour rule where, dude, you've been doing something for so long. Like the guys, the basketball players that have been playing for 20, 30 years, the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, they're the masters, right? Because when we think mastery, I'm not talking about that. Master in my pyramid and this 5 levels of skill is like, no, captain would be the master in traditional definitions. I'm talking like you break the rules, man. You do what you want, right? Like you get away with stuff that people are just like, what? How is that working? Or how does he do that? That's the master in my pyramid, right? So very few people will ever get there. However, it's something to strive for and what you want to get to. Now, am I saying in all areas of life I'm there? No, but I would say I'm definitely there or getting there, especially in regards to what I teach and in reference to like communication and sales and that kind of stuff, because I've really, with that script book and many other things that I have and all the material that I've created, it's just, I know it's unique because I've been around, man. I've been around for 10 years. I've studied with a ton of people. I've coached with a ton of people. And I can say like what I've created is genuinely unique and it's extremely effective. Because that's the thing. If it's unique, is it effective? Oh, dude, extremely effective. Tried and tested by me first before I ever delivered it to my students and my team members and everybody else. So again, let's reiterate, right? We have from bottom to top, rookie, you're brand new, unconsciously incompetent. You have the prospect, consciously incompetent, beginning to learn, getting the basics down. The initiate, intermediate level, gaining momentum, consciously competent now. The captain, the skilled practitioner, he's unconsciously competent now, meaning he's smooth and he's natural. Then you have the master, so skilled that he can break the rules and experiment and do his own thing. So hopefully this helps you, right, to give you some sort of guidance, right? This, among many other things, is kind of like the guide, and we can say like the roadmap that I give to a lot of my students, like in my coaching and stuff, to kind of let them know and always have them reference where they're at and something to aspire to. That way, every step on the path is clear to you and you know where you're at and where you're going. Okay. So that's it for this one, y'all. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully that structure gave you some sort of value. The 5 levels of skill, my pyramid, which is a part of the Team BC core system. Thank you for the support. Leave me a review on iTunes and all these other platforms. I don't know how many there are now. It's so crazy. Everything you need is in the description. If you guys want to find out more about my coaching, you want to go to my website, you want to go to my YouTube channel, you want to join me over at Real Brokerage, you have any questions, all the links are below for you to check out, along with our public Discord. All right. See you guys on the next episode. I'm excited for this weekend for the event. If you're listening and you're going to be there, I look forward to seeing you.